Hello friends, ByeByeWorldx. I just want to really quickly say something that I think it's really important to be aware, as we put our armor on and stake our claim here, as we watch the convoy going into Canada, etc. I think it's very important for us to be aware of what we're fighting for. Now, we aren't fighting to preserve what we previously had. That is destroyed. That does not exist. The reason I say that is because there's no way that many of us will have gone through what we went through and be okay with going back to things the way that they were. There are so many people now who can see through the illusion that was created for us for so many years. There's no going back. There is no going back. They have destroyed that. There's no going back. So we have to be careful when we're fighting that we are aware of what we're fighting for. Otherwise, we risk becoming a pawn in their scheme, and they're good at that. They've done it countless times over many years, where, how can I explain it best? I don't know about Trump. I'd like to think there's someone out there who can do something, but at the end of the day, for me personally, I have a very hard time trusting anyone in those positions of power that have been so heavily manipulated and orchestrated over the years. That's just me. So, for example, when he said that they were going to build the wall, and this is just an example, like I said, nothing to do with Trump. It's just a smaller scale example of the exact same thing I'm trying to communicate. When he said they were going to build a wall, he also said he's also going to have those who the wall is designed to keep out pay for it. Okay? That pattern, the pattern of using one's own strength and abilities against them, I don't know if that makes any sense. Just like how they want to put the liquid lottery into your body and tell your body to create this dangerous particle. It's cheaper for them. They don't have to make it. And you create your own demise, essentially, by telling your body to create this dangerous protein, antigen. Does that make any sense? So, following that pattern of thought that is common in our government and world elite, of cutting corners by using us to kill ourselves, using us to destroy ourselves, or what I'm trying to say is, as we convoy to Ottawa, which I'm not against at all, I think people should stand up for freedom and stand up against tyrants and monsters. I think that if we go into it blindly, we risk being our own demise. We risk becoming our own demise. If we're going into it to fight to protect the past, what we had in the past, without realizing that is not a thing anymore, it's been destroyed. There's no going back. They already know that. They already know it's destroyed. They destroyed it. They had to. Right now, I think they are very vulnerable because this is where we were, this is where they want to be. But in order to get there, their feet have to leave the ground from here. And they're mid-flight right now. This is such a critical point. I wish I had 3 hands. This right here is such a critical point. They are vulnerable, but we are too. And I think we need to understand we're not fighting to go back here. We can't. It's gone. It's crumbled. They've already leapt. They're in the air. It is up to us to get here before they do and stop them from doing what they would like to do. Does that make sense? As I was saying, we have to understand the past is not where we want to go. We have to move forward, understanding that we are building what's to come. It is a reset. It's been reset. This is years and years in the making. The whole liquid lottery issue, tiny fraction of a much bigger problem. This is just the beginning for us, because it's like, hey, this is where we wake up. But they're already mid-flight, okay? We're still here trying to figure out how to get over here and make it better. So the reset is inevitable. It's already there. It has to be there. I need to be honest and say where we were before was not completely okay. You know, if you spend a lot of time like meditating and thinking, it's like you try to be positive and it's like, oh, things are going to be good for me. I'm blessed. You know, I want blessing. You know, you're hopeful that things will be okay for you. And, you know, you want to aspire. You want to pursue dreams, you know. The only issue is there's that little voice in the back of your head that says, there are people out there that don't get to even have these thoughts. There are people out there that don't even get to wake up and go have a meal, you know. There are people out there who, they can't get help for their mental health. There are people out there that have been destroyed and debilitated by the system and other means who don't have the opportunity to wake up each morning and say, today might be better than yesterday. So that's why I say where we were before, it wasn't viable. Like, that's not a viable system. Plenty of other people were not okay. So, I mean, it has to be reset. They've run it into the ground. These are people who understand this cycle. This is a cycle that has been happening and happening and happening for centuries, you know, millennia probably. Is millennia the correct word? This is a cycle that they understand, that the elite understand. We're only here for maybe 100 years, each of us. We have no way of seeing that big pattern. We have history that they manipulated and a bunch of missing pieces to our history, many of us. Actually, all of us, I will say. There were huge missing pieces. So, I don't want to make this too long. I just want to say we need to be aware. This is going to crumble regardless of what happens. They are on their way to the new situation. And when you have the issue with the liquid lottery, all that did, it allowed them to hoard wealth, to very strategically decrease the population. They've planted seeds into human beings to make them weak and fragile, because that's what they need. If this new society that's going to be formed up here is to be in their favor, they need less people and they need a weak population that depends on them. These are actual narcissists. A narcissist will destroy everything you have so that you are fully dependent. A narcissist hates to see you find your way out of their control. They have planted seeds in a huge percentage of the population. That's what they needed. They have planted the seed of a soft kill in our population. And another thing that the liquid lottery was good for, which was also a part of the plan with this, is to separate, not by religion, not by race, none of that. Is to separate the people who can be controlled from the people who cannot be controlled. So when you hear, you know, it's a war on religion, or a war on children, or a war on tradition, you know, all those things are considered. Those are all a part of it. And yes, those were Jimmy Levy lyrics. I like that song, but I also have my own thoughts. It's not divided by religion. I know plenty of religious people who went out and took the liquid lottery. You know, I don't think that's what the line is. I don't think that's where we're being divided. There's plenty of the religions out in the world as well. That it's just, it doesn't make sense that that would be what they're after. It's not. It doesn't matter It doesn't matter what your beliefs are. What matters to them is that once we get here, you are going to be obedient, complicit, and easy to control. Easy to be tracked. So, yeah, I don't believe the divide is between those who still desire to be free and those who will be okay with being controlled by a very corrupt and narcissistic world government. I just needed to say that, it's really important for us to understand that, because I feel like if you are going into this, you're putting on your armor and getting serious and deciding to take a stand for freedom, just know which freedom it is. It's not the freedom down here on this crumbling platform. It's the freedom up here that does not allow those monsters to plant their feet upon it. Like I said, I don't believe that the convoy is a bad thing, per se, but I do believe that they knew or have had a hand in leading us into doing this. I do believe it. I'm not saying that everyone... This isn't how it works. I don't believe that everyone in a truck that's going to Ottawa is working with the government. I don't think that at all. I think people have a nature to band together. And I think that the narcissists, the elite, understand that. They've been studying us for a very long time. I think they have an understanding that that's what we tend to do in times where we are threatened in some way, just like 9/11. And I'm not going to get into that, but that's a whole other example of using one's own self to cause one's own destruction. Does that make sense? I feel like that's accurately spoken. The towers, I won't get into it. You know what I'm saying. So, bigger picture, this whole thing, as I was saying, with the truckers going to Ottawa, this is a stage in the controlled demolition. We almost talked about 9/11. This is what I meant. This is a phase in the controlled demolition. This is the controlled demolition of this platform down here. We're watching it crumble down. This is a phase in their giant controlled demolition. They use us to create our own destruction. So we have to be careful. I'm not saying don't stand for freedom. I'm not saying I don't support this freedom movement, because I do. People should be vocal, but we should also be very smart. We should understand certain things before we leap into battle. Because unfortunately, if we don't understand, we could be leaping into battle for the wrong team without even realizing it. So, yeah, that's just a thought that I was having today. And it's when you think of it through this, when you see all this stuff that's happening, as someone who understands the media being run by the government, I'm sure we've looked at certain things and been how does it benefit them to tell us this? Why are they suddenly telling the truth? How does it benefit them to validate things we've been saying for the past couple years, But it makes sense when you think of it as, oh, they need me to get angry. When the French Macron says he wants to piss off the unvaccinated, no, he meant that. That's part of the plan. For us to get pissed off and rise up and help the destruction of this old world. This platform down here that's ready to crumble. That's what it is. That makes complete sense. So we need to be aware of that. We need to be aware that we don't help them. If we understand that, we can get one step ahead of their leap in midair to the new situation. I just want to end by saying there's nothing good that will come when we get here and they're still in power, regardless of vaccine mandates. If everything's hush hush and, you know, everyone's happy again, there's no way that this situation here will be better than this situation that was down here. I hope you understand that. It's not going to work with them there. And another important thing to understand before I turn this off, I had these thoughts in the shower. Another thing that is important to understand, they are all or nothing. They are all or nothing mentality. They want all of the control or nothing. Nothing gets to exist. That's who we're dealing with. That's the type of monster we're up against. They don't care. If they get destroyed, they don't care what happens to us. So, yeah, it's literally all or nothing at this point. When this is gone, there's nothing. There's only this. This is what we're fighting for. This is my hand. But you get what I mean. I hope that was a clear illustration. Every time I have these thoughts, it's like, if only I could draw a picture and, you know, like show this is this and this is this, like it would make a lot more sense. I'm still learning to use my words after years of silence. So hopefully my hand puppets were effective. That is it. Thank you for watching. Talk to me. If you just tell me your thoughts. It's so important that we share these thoughts and not just walk blindly into situations because they sound or feel good. You know, share your thoughts. How do we succeed? What other than knowing this will propel us forward so that we get there before they do? It is a spiritual war. Like, this is totally spiritual. I think there's a lot to understand if we're to exist here differently than we were. And that is it. Thank you. Have a great day.